What's happening?
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not bad. I'm not bad. I'm just getting set up. I'm using a laptop as a tripod, so it should be okay.
Oh, how very high tech of you.
Flip flop. I used to have a tripod, but not no more.
I'm using the tripod that I record all my interviews on. So
You're a professional, though. You should have a tripod that you
such
use.
a professional. How are you getting on?
Good, yeah, yeah. I think we're all in a bit of a weird time, aren't we?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
bizarre. It's like living in a movie every day, and this is very weird.
It's very weird. I haven't. It's only now I'm realizing how much I am a fan of like schedule.
Hmm.
I'm finding it really hard to like wake up and not really like not go somewhere.
It's so easy now, like to wake up and just put Netflix on and have a lazy breakfast and do it. Get your one walk a day, and it's very easy to be lazy. But I think
Or be like, I'm not going to bother go for a walk.
this is it too. So it's just weird. It's a weird time, but it's all for the big reason and staying safe and all. So I
Yeah.
do get it, but it is frustrating.
I think it might be a little bit harder for you guys because of like the training aspect and how much you train and how hard you train and endorphins and all those different things.
Yeah, like you feel yourself getting aggy around the house already. Like
Yeah.
yeah, so like I've been doing bits and stuff, training and that, but you definitely need to release or you'll just become you just become agitated.
Yeah, 100%.
Sure, you're
What
the
are you
same.
doing? Like what's your kind of day or your schedule like? What are you trying to fill your day with?
Well, see, it's kind of weird because we're actually moving house at the minute, so
Oh, shit.
we're in a weird position where it's kind of essential that we need to be out of our house. So that's kept us busy, and the timing's probably good for that part. But as for like, it's just getting the day in now. Really, like I'm still busy with the gym and stuff. I'm still busy with that and like, I mean, just keeping it going and keeping them at it online and stuff. So, I mean, I've plenty to do in the day and stuff, but I mean, it's frustrating that I'm not training as much.
Yeah. Did you get worried at any stage with like, obviously you've just opened and you're the RMK gym and now like you're like people are not able to use it. Did you worry at all that like
Oh, not really. No, we kind of anticipated it was going to get to the stage very early. So with that, like we kind of worked on moving them away from the actual gym floor and getting stuff sorted. But they're such a fantastic group. They kind of go with the flow and trust
Mhm.
whatever us the coaches think and rightly so. Like we have a good plan in place for them and they've all been kept very busy. They're probably busier now than they are when they're in the gym.
So are you doing like live videoing or are you just giving them a program? Like what way are you working things?
Kind of, to be honest, kind of a bit of everything. They've got their live workouts to do. They've got pre-recorded workouts to do. They have like daily challenges to do to make sure they're doing stuff. But really, it's about keeping them as a community. And like as much as the workouts are fantastic, it's a real benefit of the gym is like keeping them as one unit. And because a lot of them like that's their social aspect of life
Mm.
too. So is trying to keep them in touch with each other but they're taking care of that as well. It's there's only so much we can do, but they're a group that want to help themselves, so it makes it very easy.
It's funny, isn't it, how like much a gym or a martial arts academy can it is a social aspect for people. It's not just about the training.
Oh, flip, absolutely. Like it's like a lot of people, like for me and all, like it's when I am in fight camp and stuff, getting to the gym at 6 o'clock on a Monday or whatever night you're there is it's kind of like a bit of going out, if you know what I mean. Like you catch up with your
Yeah.
mate, you do what you need to do, and you have a bit of crack after. So it's very social, and that's people that don't have that in their social life, and then come into an MMA gym or any gym for that aspect, and find that will they'll relish in it straight away.
Mm. So what about fight wise? Had you something lined up?
Well, I had Belfast lined up. I was due to fight.
Yeah.
Due to headline Belfast, but like it became very obvious for me early on that it wasn't going to happen. And
Mm.
as hopeful and all the good stuff I was, it was kind of like Jimmy. You can barely go to the shop to get a thing of milk. Never mind go to the gym and train. So
Yeah.
I think it's for the best reason that it was called off. I think it would have been an absolute nightmare to train. We would have got it done, and I still would fight if they said it's back on. But I understand their choice, and I think the health and safety of the world like is paramount at this moment.
If they came to you, like if Graham Boylan came and said, "Look, we're going to try and do a similar setup with what they done for the last show, and that there's no crowd. It's like, you know, it's they hit all the different protocols and stuff for whatever it is." Would you want it to go ahead, or do you want to wait and prefer to have it as like the crowd are there, the audience there, and it's a back to normal proper setup?
Listen, I would fight this person in my gym if I could. I'd fight them in my house. Like, I just want to fight, and I wanted to get the title and do all that. Like, with UFC coming around the corner, it was important for me to fight. But oh, no, the Belfast crowd will be amazing and stuff like that. I'm not talking that down, but I think first of all, I'm a fighter, so I would have jumped at any chance to fight, whether there's a crowd or no crowd.
You mentioned the UFC. The age-old question: how sick are you of people asking, "Are you going to the UFC? When's it going to happen? Like, why hasn't it happened?"
I'm not sick of the question. It's good that I'm in that conversation, and I know I've been talking to people about the UFC move for years. Like, I know it's coming. It's not a matter of, I know this is cliche. It's like, it's not when, or it's not if, it's when. So you know, it's not frustrating. A lot of it's how the timing's lined up, and I feel like this was starting to be the time. But listen, crazier things have happened. Who's to say they don't come in August and they need me straight away? You know, I don't necessarily think me winning this title will be the make or break of me getting the UFC. I believe I'm going there anyway, so it could be sooner than people think.
And it's funny because a lot of, I think, fans feel like fighters have more info than what they're letting on. You know, like, especially with the UFC, it's never a case of they say, "Oh, in 6 months' time, we're going to sign you and you'll be fighting on this." Like, it could literally be a phone call saying, "We need someone in 3 weeks' time," and here you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and I love that aspect of it. But like, I know, sure than ever that they're watching. They know who I am. They know where I'm fighting, and I believe they're waiting. Like, they've got me on hold at the minute, and they're waiting to make that call and get me in. And when they do, I'll be there, and I'll be there all guns blazing. But for now, I'm in no rush. I'm not someone that, you know, gets frustrated at waiting for stuff. In terms of like fighting for someone, or it'll come in time, and I'll be ready.
Was the decision to take a contract with Cage Warriors, was the end goal always going to be the UFC? Like, was that part of your plan? Sign with Cage Warriors, and because they have the already established sort of blueprint for their champions to go on and be signed by the UFC, was that something that you were kind of like the reason why you chose to do that?
Yeah, it's the only plan I've ever had. The only plan I've ever had is to get to the UFC. It's never been anything else. So, like, we talked other promotions at the time, like when I was leaving Bama and stuff, and for me it was like staying true to the goal and not selling out in the goal. You know, I could have earned a bit more money and whatever, but for me it's get to the UFC, and you know, Cage Wars is the proven path for that. They put 95, I believe, people in there, I believe. So it's the right move, and it's I'm going to be very next in that scale now. So yeah, it was a no-brainer for me.
Have you, when you look at kind of your, because when we think about your whole career, it is still relatively a new career, and you're still labeled, someone in the early stages of their career. But when you look back at, how far you've come, because I know there was an extensive amateur career as well before that. But when you look at your career, is there anything that you wish you'd done differently?
Flip, good question. No, I could give you two answers. I could say yes and pick my losses and say, I wish I'd done them different. And like, that is true. But I think the exact way my career's went has got me to the exact stage I am now. So I think no, I couldn't change anything on my journey. It's been amazing. There's been some tough fights, some not so tough fights. Like, it's been fantastic. It's been a blast. So I wouldn't change anything. And I believe the future's writing itself now. So.
Who was your toughest fight?
I believe Jai Herbert's probably the only guy when I was fighting. Like, I remember thinking during the fight, like, flip, he's a high level. He's like, and I'm not talking out of turn, like, against my opponents. Even the guys that beat me, I was never in them fights thinking, flip, this guy's good. But when I fought Jai, even though I won, I remember thinking, flip, he's high level. Like, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's the only guy I've ever said in a fight, oh, like, this is tough. Everybody else has kind of been like, eventually I'm going to get my way to win, or I'm going to get my shot, or I'm going to get him down, or whatever it was. But he was the only one I was ever like very respectful in there. And I mean, I respect them all, but his skill set was very high, and obviously he's doing fantastic things now. So it's kind of evident.
Is there ever a moment of, like, when we look at the UFC thing, obviously he's waiting to make his debut. It's obviously really unfortunate for him as well, what happened with the UFC being cancelled too. But when you saw him getting signed, was that kind of more confirmation for yourself that, okay, things are going my way and the UFC is definitely coming?
Okay, my confirmation's like, it's with me anyway. Like, I know I'm going there, and like, I mean, that is like, it's forever reinstating that I am going there, of course, and it's fantastic for Jai. Like, I was probably one of the first guys to send him a message to congratulate him, like, as I am with all these guys. Jack Shore was the same. I was straight on. Like, it's forever reinstating that that's where I'm going. But I mean, nobody knows more that I'm going than me, if that makes sense. You know, I know I'm going there, so I sound like a broken record, but people are gonna have to keep listening until I'm there. So, fuck
no, you definitely don't sound like a broken record, but I feel like I'm a broken record because every time I interview you, it's like the same question, and it's, you know, like I know myself, you know, in terms of like, if someone says to me, you know, who are the guys who are going to go to the UFC in your opinion, based on the 5 years that I'm doing this, you know, your name is in there. But yeah, I have to think about the people who watch that might not know. So you have to continue to ask the question and like wreck your head.
Absolutely, but like the way I strengthen my argument at the minute is, like, they're coming to Dublin in August, all being well with the whole virus, but like, there's nobody else in Ireland that's in front of me in the list, and that's not me like talking myself up like in front of you. This is me, like, it's fact. Like, I'm the guy that has to get the shot. So you know, I'm the right age, I'm on a win streak, I'm a finisher, I'm exciting, I bring a home crowd, so there's nothing else they can say. So like, everything else for me, like, I've done my part now, so like, I just keep doing what I'm doing, and you know, I'm not gonna be a Twitter campaign and try and get in that way. I've done my job.
What do you think? And without, like, I'm not asking you so that you'll like throw shade at someone and, like, you know, it'll go viral or something. But like, what is your opinion of people who do that and who use social media to sort of almost like ask to be signed? Because it's kind of like a catch-22 situation where, like, yeah, you do have to promote yourself and be seen, but also you don't want to be signed by someone because, you know, 20,000 people on Twitter signed a petition. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I'm under the belief, like, if they know you're there, they know you're there. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
I don't think, like, Dana White's not going to look at his phone and say, flip, well, this guy's got 20,000 retweets, so we'll get him in. Like, it's just not for me. Like, you know, and I think the UFC, being old school as they won't give in to someone who's like campaign. Like, they'll get you when they want you, and they'll get you off their own accord. They have scouts out there, they have managers out there that are working hard, constantly getting people. So, you know, a Twitter campaign is really not going to be the make or break.
100%. There's also not just with the UFC, but with major promotions, there's like a conversation that's been had with fighters that, you know, not that they're not put first, but that it is an entertainment industry to a degree, and as harsh as it might sound, you're sort of disposable in terms of you're given an opportunity. If you don't rise to meet it, then you'll be let go, and that's it. You probably won't get another opportunity to come back. Right? I think that's like fair enough to say without being like, you know, throwing shade or anything. But knowing that and going into that industry and preparing yourself for it, like, have you spoken to people about like what to do, what not to do, or what kind of steps are you taking to help yourself prepare to be in a situation where you are kind of like, you know, cattle in a cattle mart?
Like, as cliche as it sounds, and probably not the answer that people want, like, but I know for example, you said UFC's like, or any promotions like Cutthroat, like once you're in, that's your time to shine. If you don't shine, you're not made for it. Like, and as harsh as that sounds, like I'm okay with though, like if you get in, you don't get it, you're out again. Like I'm fine with it. I'll play by them rules. For me, like I'm just gonna keep knocking people out and under the bright lights, and you know, you can be boring, whatever, but if you're knocking people out, not many people are going to complain. So that's my tactic plan and action plan to staying in the UFC. I'm going to keep knocking people out, and everything will take care of itself.
When you think about like when you're visualizing your like end destination and the success that you want to have in your career, and then when you hear sort of like media outlets and fans say like, oh, there's only one Conor McGregor, there'll never be a Conor McGregor again. And when we look at Conor, he's sort of like, it's very hard to go past what he's created in terms of like financially, you know, becoming a brand, you know, global icon for, you know, many different reasons. Like, what's your opinion on that? And how do you differentiate from being put into, because, you know, he's like on the European circuit, you're on the European, the Cage Warriors thing, it's always going to be a comparison to anyone who's been Cage Warriors and goes to the UFC. So how are you changing or trying to change the course of the kind of that dynamic?
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, well, the history book's big enough for more than one person. Like, we had Michael Bisping, we had Dan Hardy. You know, these were people that said no one else will ever be that big. And then, I mean, then Ross Pearson came through. Then it was Norman Park came through. Then it was McGregor. Do you mean the history books? It's a big book. You know, it's not one style. It's not. They're not only looking for big left-handed southpaws. Like, you know, I mean, a long, lanky guy will come in and write a new chapter. So I'm not necessarily saying, you know, people are going to be saying, oh, Rhys McKee was better than McGregor or he reached more, but, you know, everybody's writing a different chapter with a different topic and stuff like that. So McGregor is McGregor, and there is only one McGregor, but there's also only one Rhys McKee, there's only one Michael Bisping, there's only one whatever. Like, so probably it's kind of the truest answer. Like, the history book's big enough for us all, so it's just what we do with our
I agree.
chapter, you know.
Do you find yourself still being a fan of the sport? And I mean that in that, you know, sometimes I feel that when I'm working so much in the sport, I actually lose sort of like being a fan. Like I lose the momentum of why I actually started doing this. And I have to sort of like check myself and like, you know, kind of fall back in love with it again in a way.
Yeah. You know what? I totally resonate with that. Like, I'm probably not as big a fan as I used to be. I find I would say the best way is like someone who drinks coffee. When they have so much coffee, they become a coffee snob, and like they only like a certain coffee made by a certain machine with a certain. Do you know what I mean? So like,
yes.
I think for me, it takes the UFC title fights for me to watch, or the Cage Warriors title fights for me to get really excited and sit and say, oh, I'll watch that. That it maybe stings to say a bit, but listen, and you know yourself, you've been around it 5 years, I've been around it near 9. If I'm not entitled to be sick of something, like not sick of it, but like, you mean I don't need to watch the undercard of every local MMA show. I'm still a fan, but I'm a selective fan. That's the best way.
I wonder, could I get away with being a selective fan when it happens to me? But there's a few, someone just said sort out your hair.
There's some beef about the hair.
That's very mean. It's the middle of a pandemic here.
We're in the middle of a pandemic, and these boys are worrying about the hair. I've seen Ian Gary writing about the hair.
Desperate times.
He's got a buzz cut. He's okay.
What was I going to say to you? Yeah, so that's all like super exciting.
Yeah,
like obviously it's unfortunate that all this is happening, but when you're excited, when you've got a kind of life goal in place, sort of things like this, it's inconvenient, but I think, you know, once you've got a goal or direction, it's just it's not that big a deal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I put thing that I do Sunday questions every Sunday, and people were asking like, you know, how do you keep training during something like this going on? And it's like, like it's very simple. Like your goal shouldn't stop just because of this.
Yeah.
You know, like, so if your goal's stopped by a virus, that means you can't leave your house, and you probably don't want your goal enough.
Mm.
Like there's always things to do and always ways to, work around that, work on something else. And even your mindset is massive, like at this time, like
Has
that's
anyone ever told you not to be a fighter or that you should stop?
no, I've never been told that. No, I've never been told that. It's kind of, I think anybody that knows me and is in close circle, like, not that I do what I want, but like if I have my mind set on something, like it's happening probably.
Mm-hmm.
So like I never wanted to fight. Like when I started MMA, like it wasn't about fighting for me until I had 5 fights, and then I was like, flip, I guess I am fighting
Mm-hmm.
now. Like I never set out to be a fighter.
So what made you take your first fight?
Uh, I think it was because I wanted to impress my coaches. Like I
Mm.
remember it was a Thursday night. I remember it very well because I used to always be I still am very early to classes, and I was on the mat and I was warming up, kind of just filling time, and I seen the whispers going on between the two coaches, and then I got ushered over, and like before I knew it, I had accepted a fight like the next week. So it's very much a case of like not wanting to say no made me say yes. But like
Was
that's
there
not
was there at any point where your coach Rodney or anyone else at the gym that they said you have the potential to be really good at this? Like, did they recognize something in you that you maybe didn't at that time?
like I'm not speaking out of turn about Rodney here, but like that's not how Rodney works. If this makes sense, I'm like
Yeah.
anybody that knows, I know, like Rodney's like I high him in the highest regards, but like Rodney's not one. Like self praise is no praise is a quote that Rodney will like tell you every week of your life. Self praise is no praise. So like to this day, like I've never had the conversation with Rodney that like he's been like, oh Rhys, you're this and that, and I love that. Like that's what I love about
Mm.
Rodney. Like if you go out and you win, like I won that last fight again in Cork, and like Jimmy, we didn't sit down and he goes, flip, you're amazing, or anything like this. It was like, all right, like on to the next one kind of thing, So
Yeah.
that's why he's such a fantastic coach. He's not a yes man. He won't tell you
Mm.
something you just want to hear. Like he's as real as it gets.
So, how do you know when you're doing a good job with him?
um, good. Well, flip. Well, I suppose the fights just talk, don't they? Like,
Yeah.
no, we have moments like he'll definitely, if he's not clipping your wings, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
And I think like he is very old school, very very old school, but I'm okay with it. And
Well, he's old school because he is old school. Like he's been around since like I mean back some of my favorite stories of like when people that if I'm out for dinner with someone and they've know nothing about this world and they say like, so what's work, and like I always talk about like there's some people that I've met in the last 5 years of doing this that have stories that are just like insane, and Rodney is always one of those people. Like his stories of like turning up to fight and not knowing who was going to fight and standing on the scales and going like, right, you're this weight, he's kind of saying like, or you're going to fight him tonight, do you know what I mean, like that. I remember him telling me all these stories before, and I was like, that just seems like so foreign to like what I know. And I've seen the sport change so much in 5 years. I can't imagine what it's like for guys like him. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, but like Rodney's a testament to the sport. Like he's done so much for the game. Like he definitely doesn't realize how much he's done. But like
Mm.
I mean, even like when we're cornering down in Dublin and stuff, it's normally me and Rodney would go down in the car and come back or something. Like
Yeah.
stories you hear, it's just constant stories. Like so,
Yeah.
no, like I'm forever grateful to Rodney, but I believe he knows that. Like
Mm.
he'll always be my head coach, and it's exciting times, not just for me, but I'm excited to have him walk beside me and try and do all the greatest things with him as my head coach. It's a big deal to me, and it's definitely important.
What's your proudest moment?
Um, I don't know if I could define it by a moment. I think like when we're sitting here and like I've had like 13 pro fights and 13 amateur fights, and
Mm.
I'm proud of everything that's happened, if that makes sense. I can't
Yeah.
say, I mean, I won the world title. It was fantastic. I won the European title. It was fantastic. Like, you know, but like it's as a whole, I'm proud of my career. I'm proud of what I've done and what I'm doing and what I'm on my way to do. So I don't think the biggest moment of my career has come yet. It definitely hasn't. But I'm definitely proud of what I'm doing.
Absolutely. How has what's changed since your pro debut with whether it's like training or fight style, prep, your mindset? What's the biggest change that you've experienced since your pro debut? Which I remember like yesterday.
You know, like I've just grew up. Like I've grew up with the sport, and I'm not saying that there was nothing wrong with me then. I wasn't like a naive kid or anything. Like, but I've just grew up. Like I think I was 19 then. I'm 24 now. You know, like you take a 19 to 24-year-old who doesn't fight professionally, who doesn't train, who doesn't do all this stuff. Like, I mean, they're going to evolve and they're going to be a totally different person. So the fact that I had to do that while fighting, and you know, I'm not saying I'm a superhero or anything like that, but I
Yeah.
mean, just so much has changed in my life, you know. But like martial arts is what a way to grow up, what a way to be humbled constantly every day. You know, it was definitely a good upbringing, so to speak, by MMA.
And also, you know, people have to remember as well that like when we look at people making like pro debuts or you know, having two, three, four fights and then they go on to fight in like 1,000 seater venues or 2,000 seater venues. Like you had your pro debut in the Tree Arena, like walking out to thousands and thousands of people and like literally being like, as you said, 19, a child.
Yeah, I remember it was 10 fight deep on the card. Like it was the 10th fight of the evening. Like I remember Carl Moore was on before me, and I remember
Yeah.
like going and watching Carl Moore, like buying tickets to go see Carl Moore, and I'm like after him in the card. I'm like, they must have made a mistake in this fight card or something, you know. But like all the people I was on after, so I think obviously I was fighting John Redmond. He had 15 fights, like or
Yeah.
whatever he had. Like it was massive and it was weird, but I suppose where I was a bit young and naive was maybe not realizing that and not letting it affect me. Like
Yeah.
I remember after the John Redmond fight, I was in bed for half one, like going to sleep as it just as another night. But like that seems so surreal. Like I mean,
Yeah.
considering what happened,
Yeah.
weird,
Yeah.
weird.
100%. Like it's, I think that whole, like that fight announcement, like the weigh-ins, the week of the fight itself, like how it all played out. That was another one of those sort of like iconic Irish MMA moments where,
Yeah.
you know, it kind of goes down the list of like iconic moments that people remember, or it's like, oh, do you remember when, like, or
Yeah.
oh, do you know who Rhys McKee fought in his pro debut, or whatever it might be, you know?
I think I do think it's something that people talk about like a lot when they mention my career, and you know, like no, it's definitely I'm glad it happened, and you know, I suppose at the time I was extremely naive, or not naive, because like I mean I won, but like I just knew, like I knew the whole time that it would never go the way people talked about online. You know, they said like
Yeah.
John's going to do this and that to me, and it was never going to happen in my mind, and I mean it didn't. So
Which when you're writing, you know, they will say a chapter in a book on fight night and like what's going to happen and different things. I think for a lot of people it was because they knew John, but no, not a lot of people knew you because obviously it was your pro debut and it was only, you know, your gym and the people who had seen you fight, and people were going off your amateur career and different things. And it's such a big jump, isn't it, from amateur to professional? Because even if you look at, I remember recently looking at one of your fights I came across. It was one of your amateur ones. I think maybe it could have been a Kuma. And I'm not sure who are you fighting. I don't know, but you just looked about 12.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
remember looking at it, I was like, you're so skinny and like,
Oh, I only look 13 now, so.
like
But I think the funniest thing about the Redmond fight was I fought at Battlezone like a few weeks before.
yeah,
I fought his student. I fought Owen Drumgoole, and John Redmond
that's
was in
right,
his
yeah.
corner because I remember John Redmond was wearing the Johnny Jitsu t-shirt and a bright orange hat, and I remember thinking he's a bit of an idiot, like, but he was funny, like, and you know I was laughing. But like if you told me there and then that I would fight him in like I don't know, like 3 or 4 weeks, whatever it was, like it's just bizarre when you think about it. But I mean, it's fantastic.
Has there been any other moments like that where you've gone, shit, I used to dream about these kind of moments, and now look where I am.
Yeah, when I fought Tommy McCafferty, like I remember watching Tommy McCafferty's like highlight reels, and like
Mm,
I was a massive fan of Tommy McCafferty. And then like my friend was running a show, Decky Larkin, he was running UXC, and he was like, "Who do you want to fight?" And I said, Give me Tommy." Like I didn't even think he would take it because he was like the boy, like
yeah.
he was, and then he did take it, and the show fell through. But I fought him in Bama, and then I knocked him out, and oh,
Mm,
flip, it was amazing. But the I think I was also gutted because like Tommy didn't like he didn't. I thought he was a professional. I thought he was going to be like nice after the fight, and we would have a chat,
mm.
and we would organise training. But flip, without getting too harsh, he wasn't. He
Oh,
wasn't.
really?
Nah, he just
Oh,
just wasn't what I expected. So
yeah.
never beat your heroes.
Never. Oh, don't say that. You'll have me crying. But it is true, and also not even never meet your heroes, but
That's a joke.
like
I do meet your heroes.
do meet your heroes, but also like how do I say this without like not never meet your heroes, but like sometimes people who you have respected for a long time, their actions can lead you to be like, oh, you're not actually anything like
Yeah.
I thought
Look,
you
like
are,
I
or
mean,
you
he
were, you
didn't
know.
he didn't do anything wrong. I suppose I mean like the fight lasted a minute and a half or so, like was it like I think
Yeah,
I knocked him out and then like finished him. But like I mean it was like a bit of respect, you know. I sent him a message, I
yeah.
wished him the best. I told him I was a fan of his for my whole career, and you know he read it and didn't reply. It speaks volumes about a person. So, but there's no skin off my back.
But also, you
The
are
first
the
I've ever
nicest man
it's
in
the first
MMA.
it's the first I've ever talked about this though. I've never talked about it
No
before.
way, is this an exclusive?
This is an exclusive. But I mean,
Yes.
there's no story here. But
There will be now that you said that.
if you look at a rematch,
I'm going to put it out exclusive rematch. Here we go. But yeah, like, I mean, today, like, if it ended, you know, we don't like to think about the what ifs, but if it ended tomorrow, would you be happy with how it has gone? So, like, to date?
yeah, I'd be delighted. I think I'd be delighted. I think like you know, I like okay, I'd be delighted. Yes, of course. You know, I haven't reached just where I want to be, but like yeah. I said this to someone actually about the Odyssey, like or fighting in the SSE. I will was meant to.
Mm,
You know, if this is the highest night of my career, fighting for a world title in Belfast, like it's not the worst of careers I've had. So you know, but I have a lot more to
absolutely.
do. A lot more to do. Yeah.
You've done more to date than many have done in their entire careers, so that's definitely something
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
be proud of.
Yeah.
Uh, Looking to the future, visualizing is what name would you have one of those moments where you're standing across the cage and going, I can't believe this is about to happen.
Well, in terms of fighting someone,
Yeah, who's at the other side of the cage?
I would love to fight McGregor. That I would love like someday to have like a like not this. I don't want to sound too cliche about saying it, but like he say like he's like kind of stages in his career where like people like I mean he might have 5 or 6 more fights and retire. So I'd like to be
Mm-hmm.
the fifth or sixth, and it's like you know like who's gonna like be the guy in Ireland now. So I would like that kind of fight, but whether it happens or not, who knows? But I would love to fight him.
Because it's a weird sport, isn't it? Where like you can be sat at home watching Connor in his next fight, and you know, for doing what lots of people do and go, like, oh, I could do that, or I could capitalize there, or he isn't doing this, and you know, you get to be the armchair fighter, you know what I mean, and go like, oh, I definitely, you know, whatever it is. But it's how brilliant is the sport that actually you could possibly end up fighting him in a couple of years.
Yeah, like you know, say my next fight was in the UFC, I win 2 good ones. His
Mm-hmm.
pulls out last minute. Like weirder things have happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so who knows? Listen, who knows? But like, there's a lot of people I would love to fight. A lot of people I would like to have that legend, the next legend fight. So who knows? I'm good for whatever.
Who was your legend growing up? Like who did you
Um, like
who did you aspire to be like?
I didn't really have one. I suppose like again like when I was in the gym in 16, 17, 18, Norman was there. Like Norman was
Yeah.
doing it. Like he was running about in the UFC tracks. It's
Yeah.
like, do you know what I mean?
Wild.
So like I can't help but think that it was him, you know, like
Mm.
he was the guy that had what I want. So I mean, I guess in a way Norman was my idol, you know, and like to an extent he still is, absolutely. He's a good training partner. So you can take a lot out of a lot of waves of life, you know, like everybody's your idol really when you think about it.
Mm.
You know, so it's a bit of a deep answer, but it's true. Like
No, it's that's really good. Yeah.
even the kids in the gym, the kids who watch
Mm.
us spar every Saturday, like I would idolize them a bit because like they're just hungry and they're keen to learn and they're watching you like you're the best thing since sliced bread. So they're the heroes too.
It was funny. I had Liam Harrison on the other night, and I asked him, you know, like if a young fighter was looking to emulate your career in terms of like how successful you were actually winning fights and your brand and the money you've made and being known as like this really great Muay Thai fighter, like what advice would you give them to do that? And he was just simply was like, I've been obsessed with Muay Thai since I can remember, and that's what has led me to this point and continues to lead me, is that I'm as in love with it as the first day I started.
Yeah, what an answer! Like
Mm.
it's so true. Like you just have to be like I know you're not asking me this, but like you have to be there. Just like when you don't want to be there, you have to be there. Like
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's you have to become like it's not an option not to go. It's just like I am there. Like you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's and that's it. Like it's really like what is it? The I remember the old documentary was about 10,000 hours with like Paddy Holohan and stuff.
Yeah,
And, you know, I
that
remember
was a great documentary.
yeah, I remember watching that and thinking, like, and I thought about that a lot, like 10,000 hours, like, and it's true if you do anything for that amount of time, like, how can you not be great at it?
Yeah,
What do
100%.
you talk about love in here?
Ah, Paul. I
Uh-huh.
also, oh, I can't remember the number, but I remember reading a book before, and it had a quote from Jay-Z that was saying like that if you repeat a rap, maybe it was like 360 times or something, some weird random number,
Paul will
but
know. Paul Hughes will know. He's the book man.
but it was
He'll know.
something that if you repeat yourself, like he was talking about someone was asking him, how do you remember your raps when you're on stage, like all the lyrics of like, you know, 15 songs when you're like on tour or whatever. And he was like, once you get to a certain stage, you automatically will always remember. And it's something that's always stuck in my mind. It's
Yeah,
very, it's interesting.
yeah. No, it's I'm still like, and McGregor also had a video about like, you know, people saying you shouldn't be obsessed. He's like, fuck that. You definitely should be obsessed. Like to be elite, I believe you need to be obsessed. Like
Yes, I agree.
if they're not some you know, if you can leave it at home on a Friday and not train again to the Monday, like I don't know if you really want it that much. You know, like that's just my opinion.
Well, it's actually, that's a very interesting conversation because, you know, even when I think about myself at work and when people say like, oh, you know, you should be getting like this camera and that camera and you should be doing this and this person's doing that. And I'm like, you know, it's not for me. I do what I do. And, you know, I remember someone saying to me before, but yeah, what if like, you know, you'll be left behind and like all these people have all these new gadgets that they're doing these mad things. And I was like, my thing is that no one will ever outwork me. I
Yeah,
work so hard
yes,
that I know that no one will be able to do this. Like
yeah,
that is, I haven't met anyone yet that works as hard as I do. You know,
fantastic.
as
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
not a big headed thing. That's and
totally
it's
get it.
actually it's a negative thing to a point as well because like I have no outside. You know what I mean? So I get to like December at the end of the year and I'm like, I think I'm gonna have a nervous breakdown now because I haven't been off in 8.5 months. Do you know what I mean?
No, listen, I think that's fantastic. Like, I mean, that's a work ethic. Like, it's hard to beat the person that never gives up, you know, and
Exactly.
like it's impossible to stop the person that doesn't stop. Like, so no, I think you're just right, and you should absolutely should be the hardest worker in the room.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
Good chat.
yeah, deep chat
Deep
a bit.
chat. It was good. It was
Yeah,
good.
no,
I forget people are watching this.
yeah. Yeah, some people tuned in.
Yeah. But
Game.
what I was going to say, what are you on a lighter note, let you go after this. What are you watching or if you are watching anything? What's your quarantine recommendations?
Well, there's Rebecca on, so I'll give her a
Hi,
shout.
Rebecca.
She's watching Lost at the minute. She's watching Lost, but I don't know. I'm not.
I've never seen Lost.
Yeah, well, I think it's 10 series long. I think that's my problem. I'm scared to commit to the beard's out of control. I'm scared to commit to 10 series of anything. So I'm not really like I'm one of these people I like something light to watch in the background. You know,
Yeah,
I don't like anything too heavy. But we got Disney Plus, so
great.
we'll be hitting that up. So any recommendations, fire them.
I got Now TV so that I could watch The Sopranos. Yeah, so I'm halfway through season 2.
Yeah, I'm not the TV guy. You know, I'm just not that guy. It's disappointing about it.
Well, listen, I'll let you go.
Yeah, no
Thank
problem.
you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you. It was good to get Pierce McGuire training videos. Paul Hughes he's turning into a bit of a joker here.
Pierce McGregor, has he retired? I haven't seen him in a
Well,
while.
Pierce lives in New York.
No way.
Yeah. He actually works in like a spa.
No
Yeah,
way.
yeah. So he gives like massage to like this. It sounds really random, but like he gives like massage to like old people with injuries and stuff. So
No
yeah.
way. What an amazing job.
It's weird.
This is
Weird.
like, I mean, I've never heard of anyone doing that before, but that's such a
That's Pierce.
noble job.
That's,
That's
that's Pierce. He's just so random. He's so random.
that's contributing to society like I've never heard.
In New York too. In New York.
Yeah, well, living the dream in New York. Fair play to him. Well, listen, thank you so much again. Really appreciate it, and hopefully I see you very soon. I am
Yeah.
going to be at Cage Warriors Belfast, so I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait. I'm really
Thanks for
excited.
taking the time to have me on as well.
No problem at all. And thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Super. Cheers. Have a good one.
Talk to you soon.
See ya. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to Viking TV.